My name's Andy Connor. I'm the Channel Director for EMEA for Subzero. Been with the company for the last 2.5 years. So I look after the EMEA region for all of the sales aspects, depending on the type of customer, from retail customers right up to hyperscale and everything in between. Subzero EMEA came about probably about 7-8 years ago. It was born from the US, really to serve some of our global customers. And obviously as we came over and we invested in our 35,000 square foot facility in Dublin, where we do all of our engineering and production and supply chain. As we grew out of that, we then realized that there was a need not just to service the global customers from the US side of the business, but also locally as well, be it through the standard colo, tier 1, tier 2 colos, or some of the business that some of the large enterprises are doing in that region. So as you can imagine, EMEA is a large region. Predominantly, we started off really concentrating on Europe, and that was the flat market. So Frankfurt, London, Amsterdam, Paris, and then Dublin on top. But over the years, we've started to see some expansion really drive the Middle East and the Africa business. So the business as a whole has grown a lot more since then. The benefits of Subzero is because we're this global company, because we have our manufacturing and engineering facility in Salt Lake, Utah, as well as having it in Dublin, we can really leverage on the expertise that we've got across those two regions. So when it comes to customers' requirements, when it comes to something maybe outside of containment, if we're looking at structured steel fabrication kind of engineering projects, we have the expertise in both areas to be able to allow us to customize the solution and really deliver that to the customer. So we work very closely with the US. We work with the engineering department very closely. We work with the marketing department very closely to ensure that not only the solutions that we're coming up with really on point for the customer and deliver what the customer needs, but also that we're coming out with the right brand side so that people understand what Subzero mean. We're not just an EMEA business, we're part of this big global business. A lot of the products that we have and that we've developed have all come from the US side of the business. Because the US has been going since 2005, 2006, they've had an opportunity to really hone the product set and understand what the client wants and really bring a product to market. So we've been able to leverage that in EMEA. So we have relied in the past very, very heavily on the design and functionality of the product that we've got. And it also means that because we work closely with them and because they understand that market, because of the types of customers that they work with, certainly within the hyperscale market. Most of the hyperscalers, let's be honest, are American hyperscalers. So there's a strong account management side of the business in the US that we definitely leverage on within Europe. So be it customized designs that the customers particularly want for a particular type of data center, we can use that leverage to be able to then transfer that into EMEA. So we do work very, very closely with their engineering department to really come through with that solution. I think because we're such an established brand in the US, when I started with Subzero, it was obvious that we were servicing certain kinds of customers very, very well, those global customers, but I think as a brand, we weren't really known out there in the same way that they were in the US. So there were a lot of lessons for us to learn about how they'd gone to market, who they'd worked with, how they'd grown their channel, and really for us to leverage that into Europe to really drive that brand awareness. I think when you look at the containment market and the engineering side of that business, there's a lot of different players that play in that market, and EMEA is very spread out. You've got global players, you've got very local players, and actually we've got a very, very big story to tell. We work with all of the big customers across the world, so it's how can we then use that knowledge that's in the US to really drive that brand perception within EMEA. One of the things that certainly I've learned while I've been with Subzero is within EMEA, it's a completely different landscape to the US. However, a lot of the challenges that we're coming up with and have been seeing in the last 3 to 4 or 5 years are starting to become more prevalent in the US. Some of those are certainly around sustainability and efficiency. We don't have the same footprint to be able to just build data centers. So we need to make our data centers a lot more reliable, a lot more efficient. Using our CFD reports, we can show customers how they can see a real ROI saving in their estate. But really to drive that message home that we're not just a containment company, we're almost a containment consultancy. We'll look at the customers, we'll speak to the customers, find out what their challenges are, and then we'll really drive that message home with them. And I think in the US, because the US market is slightly different, they're now starting to see that their customers are really driving that sustainability message home. And we've probably got 2 years head start on them from what we've been doing. So everything that we've been talking about from a brand perspective, it's not been product focused, it's about what does it do for you? How does that product increase your efficiency? How does it help you hit your sustainable goals? How does it help you save carbon? How does it help you save water? How does it help you save money at the end of the day and give you a decent ROI? And I think we've probably been at the forefront over that over the last 2 years because the market has necessitated that compared to the US. So there's definitely been lessons to learn. I think in certain aspects, we're definitely ahead of the US when it comes to looking at how data centers need to improve, because as I said before, we don't have the ability to just keep on continually building more and more data centers. There's a lot of legislation in Europe that's probably going to start coming through into the US. So, you know, if you look at Amsterdam, for example, they put a complete stop on building data centers, and then they have to come in with a PUE of 1.2 or less, because they've got to show that they're environmentally sustainable, not just for the data center, but for the environment around it, right? So there's a huge amount of legislation that's coming through, and through the tools that we've got, we've been able to help data center providers show how they can make those savings and how they can adapt to that. There's also a big part of modernization as well, because as I said, we don't have that ability to rebuild huge data centers on a mass scale that you would see maybe in Virginia or in Phoenix in the US. There's a lot of modernization that has to come about. So there's a lot of older estates that are 10, 15, 20 years old that really need to be brought up to speed. And that's where our expertise can come in. You know, yes, we can do the new builds, and yes, we're very good at doing that, but we're also very good, probably more so in EMEA, at really driving home how you can modernize that data center and really bring it up to where the levels are that legislation and customers and the enterprise customers that are taking space really want that. One of the things that makes me really proud for working with Subzero is this isn't just a selling product job, right? You know, I'm not just selling a car or selling a computer or I'm selling a solution that really helps protect the environment. You know, everyone's talking about how can we reduce CO2? How can we save water? All of these things that are really on point at the moment, but you know what? We don't just talk it, we do it. So with our CFD reports, we can do, which we offer for free, we can do a complete analysis of someone's data center and show them in real time how they can make those savings. And we can show how we've been doing this for customers over 2, 3, 5, 10 years. So there's a real side to the business that says, you know what? Yes, we're an engineering company. Yes, we produce solutions. But the back end of it is we're actually contributing to the environment. We're actually contributing to the planet. And that's something that's good. It makes you feel good about working with a company, you know? One of the things we do very well, amongst others, is when you compare us to, say, a lot of our competitors, we're at the forefront of thought leadership. You know, we like to go out there and we don't just talk about the product, we talk about how we see the market moving, how we see the changes that are really going to affect that data center market, and how customers can look at the solutions and look at what we offer and really attack that kind of business, that side of the business. I think in the past, when you look at manufacturers, they're too quick to just talk about their product. Yeah, this is what we do. We do containment, we can put it up, there you go. We don't do that. We talk about what is it you need? What is it you're trying to achieve? How can you achieve it? What are the trends that are really affecting all of that? And then we go through and we talk about it. We talk about it through the press, we talk about it through social media. We want to educate customers. So it's not just about we sell a door. It's about educating the customers as to why, what the reasons are, and why they should work with Subzero. To educate the customer is really important because we want to show to the customer that there's value in what we offer and there's value in helping them actually achieve what they want to offer, because there's a lot of different stakeholders in companies now. If you look at enterprise companies, before you would talk to the project manager, the technical manager, the financial manager. Now you've got a sustainability director or manager in there as well. So all these different facets of the company are all playing into what it is they're trying to achieve. And so for us, we want to talk to all those different parts of the business to show that actually what we're offering is something that can really help them tick a lot of the boxes in how they develop their estate, how they develop their social responsibility when it comes to data centers. Because let's be brutally honest, data centers are getting a bad rap at the moment out there, right? There's a lot of bad press, and actually a lot of that isn't justified. but customers need to show that they're listening to it and they're acting on it. And that's where Subzero come in, because we can help take them on that journey. Customer comes first. That sounds like a really old thing to say, but it's very true with us, right? From the engineering, from the consultancy side of the business, we'll work with them from day one to the implementation of their product. That's the first thing. The second thing is we will help them show and justify what the ROI and the sustainable efficiency side of their data centers are going to be. You know, that's a really big thing for our customers. It's something they need to really take to their board of directors and also for them to show to their customers, right? We concentrate on our elite line of products, right? The elite line are very customizable, very simple to install solutions that offer containment that really hit the metrics that the customer's looking for. The reason we go through with this product line in EMEA is because, you know, EMEA is a very competitive landscape for one. Secondly, there's a lot of different factors that play within different countries, and there's different requirements, be it humidity or dust or all of these other kind of things. So for us, we've gone with the elite product line because it's a tried and tested product, but it does make it very easy for us to customize. When I've spoken earlier about modernization, for example, if you're going into a site and you're talking about modernizing a data center, it's not just a case of going in there and putting a containment solution and walking away. You've got a lot of services and a lot of different sides that you have to really customize that solution to fit the space and do what the customer wants. We also know that from the elite product set, it's got less than 5% gas leakage, which is huge, because a lot of people will put a containment solution up and go, right, I've done it. Well, no, because we can prove with the math that actually our solution is going to save you money and is going to offer you that less than 5% gas leakage. So it's a very customizable solution that really works with us, and we know it. We don't want to spread ourselves too thinly and have lots of different types of products that effectively do the same thing. With the elite, we understand it. We're very good at time to market on it. We have over 95% on-time deliveries with this product in Europe. We can get an order, build it, ship it out in less than 4 weeks. And these are the kind of things our customers are looking for. The other product that we have is the aisle frame product. That's really a product for the new build site. That's your steel convergent system that is really designed to help speed up implementation of not only containment but services within a new build. That's something that again has been really driven by the US. Said earlier that a lot of the engineering side of the business in the US, we've lent on heavily for that product, and we continue to do so because they have the resource and knowledge of it. But we're seeing a big need for that as well in Europe. So, what with that and what with the elite product range, we're pretty confident that we cover every single base of what a customer would need when it comes to their containment solutions. As you can imagine, EMEA is a huge region. There's a lot of complexities in different areas. Language, apart from anything else, is one. Geography, distance, all of these kind of things. So what we've managed to do is we've managed to balance that with not only using our own in-house installation team that will go and put the product together and with project management see the thing through and make sure that everything's happy and it's all done at the end. We also at the same time use third-party companies. And what we do with those third-party companies is we put them through a pretty vigorous training process. We bring those companies over to our facility in Ireland. They spend 2-3 days going through the manufacturing of the product so they can see how we put that product together, understand the quality control and everything around it, use the product, and then we go through the whole installation process as well. Then once they've done that, we'll then take them out into a live install so that they can feel and see it in a real live environment. Now, the reason we've gone with this is because, all the reasons I said before, with the complexities that the region has, we can deploy a team. We've got teams in the Middle East, we've got teams in Europe, we've got teams in Ireland. So depending on where the geographies are, we can deploy a team. At the same time, we also work very closely with our partner network. Again, the difference with EMEA compared to the US, it's a lot more sparse and it's a lot more difficult to travel around because of the different countries and everything else. So we also work very closely with the partners that are buying the product so that actually we can talk them through installing it as well. So there's two big sides to our business. We offer the services ourselves and are more than happy to do that, and we can cover every country pretty much in EMEA. But at the same time, we also want to empower our partners that are buying the product to enable them to be able to do it as well. So one of the things that's really important to us is our brand and our ability to take our product to market. So, whilst anybody's got the opportunity to buy our product, when we're actually looking at partners that we really want to work with, it's really important to understand what their ethos is as a company, what they offer as a value add to their customers. How are they perceived by their customers? What kind of reputation do they have? Because at the end of the day, they're going to be brand ambassadors for Subzero. So we go through quite a rigorous process of looking at the partners, identifying which ones we want to work with. We don't go for lots of partners within country. We go for a select amount so that we don't saturate that market. That gives the partner the value of working with us. They also can work very closely with us. And also, one of the other things is when you choose your partner network and you work with them from an installation point of view, that also saves you from a carbon footprint, right? Because you're not traveling around Europe, you're not then having to go to these different countries yourself. Those partners, you're in-country partners. So it's very important to us that those partners really carry the Subzero brand. We've got our facility in Dublin, we've got our demo suite, we've got the production, the engineering, as I've said before. So we'll bring the partners over, we'll sit down, we'll go through everything, we'll talk through them, and we'll really understand what it is that's driving their decision to want to partner with Subzero. It has to be a two-way street between both of us. And that's really how our criteria from a selection point of view goes. But like I said, we don't want to spread ourselves too thinly. We want to stick to the ethos of what Subzero is, customer-centric. We want to be able to make sure that we can provide our product on time in an efficient manner, customize that bespoke offering with our engineers, so they're not dealing with a different engineer every time they ring up. They have a set engineer on. And again, through the sales team, myself and my colleagues, we'll then work with the partners very, very closely. One of the big challenges since I've been with Subzero in the last 2.5 years, we've gone through the pandemic. There's been a lot of supply chain issues that have affected the data industry right across the board. However, the way that Subzero work with our manufacturing and supply chain all based within Dublin in Europe, we've been very, very good at making sure that we can still deliver what the customer wants in a timely fashion. So, we've won a lot of projects because customers can come to us and they understand that not only will we turn around a drawing within 72 hours maximum, so they've got their design proposal in front of them, we can then be on call to do any design changes that they may need to. And then once it gets through to a purchase order point of view, we can then supply that very, very quickly. We've managed that supply chain very, very well. Our operations side of the business in Ireland is very, very slick. We've had 95% plus on-time deliveries in the last 3 years, which when you take into account material shortage, pandemic, and everything else that's been part of that, and obviously the challenges that are going on in Europe now, we've still managed to hit that. And that's really important to the customers. They know in this fast-moving market, they can rely on Subzero to deliver when we need to. So when you look at Europe and you look at EMEA, there's obviously some markets that are starting to mature, and there's also some new markets that are starting to come up. You've got Southwest Europe, Spain, Italy, Portugal. Really they're following where the power goes. But one of the big markets at the moment is the Nordics. There's a lot of really obvious reasons why that is. For a start, the climate, right? So it's a lot cheaper to cool up there. The geothermal power that they've got up there as well. So there's a real big reason for data centers providers to look at the Nordics, and we've worked really closely with a company called atNorth, primarily based in Iceland, but they also have a footprint in Sweden and in Finland, and they're expanding rapidly. We started working with them about 3-4 years ago. They needed a solution to really work for them, but they weren't quite sure how it was going to happen. And so rather than us just becoming a containment supplier, it really worked out quite quickly that we needed to be more of a consultancy. So we went to see them, we really understood what their challenges were, and we worked very closely to come up with a completely customized solution that worked with them. But it's really impressive, and actually there's a lot of information on our website, and there's a white paper about our relationship with atNorth, about how they work with us. And it's really quite an interesting side of the business, not just from what we've provided, but also the reasons why atNorth are as good as what they do. Why have they got a PUE of 1.02? How are they harnessing geothermal energy to really power their data centers, and how we work with them? So I would really stress, go and look at the white paper, because it's a very interesting read on the whole relationship between us and atNorth. One of the reasons we did the white paper in conjunction with atNorth was to really help educate the wider market on some of the challenges that the data center market has out there. These were very real challenges that North had there. They were based in Iceland, quite a remote facility, but they also had very unique issues when it came to how they were going to implement the containment solution on site. And they really needed someone to work with them from a design perspective to come up with that customized solution. So I think that in that white paper, there's a lot of things that a lot of people are going to find very relevant about some of the challenges that they're finding in that market today and how Subzero helped North overcome those challenges. There's a lot of things that are really driving growth within Europe and EMEA as a whole. One of the biggest challenges is we're not able to just build more and more data centers. If we want to increase capacity, we have to try and be a little bit clever about the estate that we've got and how do we maximize the performance within that estate. So obviously, when you're looking at higher density racks, you're looking at more of a containment solution to really help drive that higher kilowatt per rack. But you're also seeing things that are moving outside of that. So we're seeing a really big move to edge computing in Europe at the moment. Edge computing is everywhere, be it telcos, be it self-driving cars, be it the fact that you want Netflix on demand as soon as you can get it. All these different factors are starting to affect it. So what we've done is we've come up with a solution that actually leverages our sister product set in the US, Simplex, who make clean rooms, and we've kind of combined the clean room aspect of Simplex with the containment side of Subzero to bring this modular clean room micro data center solution together, so that actually, rather than just bringing up something that the customer is told, this is the size and this is how you want it, this product is modular. It can grow with them. It's a very easy, cost-effective solution to put together. And that's really driving a lot of growth in Europe. Edge is probably one of the biggest drivers right now. At Subzero, we really believe that we are 100% customer-centric. So when a customer chooses to work with Subzero, the first thing they'll get is, what is it you're trying to do? Right, we act more of a consultancy, so we will work with them to understand what their needs are. Once we've done that, they will then get an engineering relationship with our team over in Dublin, where we will talk, we'll have calls, we'll understand what it is they're trying to achieve, so that they feel that A, their challenge is being listened to, and B, they're happy with the solution that's being brought about. And we really believe in that customer-centric approach, because we don't want a customer to have to ring up and speak to someone different every time. They'll speak to the same engineer. That engineer will know their project through and through. He'll carry that from inception through to delivery. The last thing is that when a customer deals with Subzero, it's time to market. They'll understand that through the quality of the product, the quality control, everything else, we will be able to deliver that product in a timely fashion, not delaying their projects as a whole, so that they get the feeling right from the start that actually they're working with a company that can design, manufacture, deliver, and install at speed. And that really is pretty crucial in the market right now. When you look at EMEA as a region, we're seeing a lot of growth from the Middle East and Africa, right? So Europe is obviously still growing, there's no doubt about that, but the next big markets are certainly the Middle East and Africa. And they bring their own complexities to have to deal with them, because you're working with local partners in that region. Logistically, it can be a challenge. You've obviously got different environmental things to take into account, because it could be humid, it could be dry and arid, the power side of it. And actually what we're starting to see now more, especially in the Middle East, a real drive towards sustainability and efficiency. In the past, because they're oil-rich countries, there wasn't that real need for them to think about how they're going to save money, how they're going to make themselves more sustainable and efficient. Now that Western companies are starting to come over more into the Middle East, that's really driving those data center providers to have to change the way that they're operating. So there's a real big shift there for someone like us that has worked a lot in the Middle East, understands the environment, has the right partners in that market to really drive our solutions, and that's a real win for us. If you then look at Africa, Africa's a nation where something like 75% of the nation are aged under 35. So there's a real drive in Africa for people to want to have connectivity. So the telcos are really driving that 5G connectivity across the region. We're seeing a lot of expansion of data centers in that region. And again, it brings its own challenges. You've got geographical challenges, you've got logistical challenges. You need partners that understand how you work in that region. And also with the customers that we're dealing with, global customers that we're dealing with, having footprints in those countries, how we can help those companies take that business there as well. So we're seeing a real shift in the dynamics of EMEA, whereas before it was very, very Europe-led. We're slowly starting to see it move more and more to the Middle East and Africa. And we're very well placed to do that. Doesn't mean we're not working with Europe, of course we are, but that's a challenge, and we've been working it for a while, so we understand that market. It's a really big challenge taking these regions on, because you have to understand the complexities of dealing within these regions. You have to spend time understanding the different traditions that go in those countries, the different labor laws that work in those countries, right? There's a lot of different aspects to it, but it's also a really dynamic region. The growth, as you could imagine, in the Middle East and Africa is just huge, it's exponential. And so for us as a business in EMEA, we started off all those years ago coming over to help service the US global clients. We then brought up the European business. We're evolving into the Middle East and Africa with the knowledge that we understand that marketplace. And that's a real win for us, because it means the customers that we deal with know that we understand how to do that. We've worked in projects where the data center's being built and it's a desert. There's nothing there. It's just this one data center, and you have to understand through the partner network how you can best service that. How can you get your equipment there? How can you deliver the logistics and everything else that goes with it? So really for us, that's the next big challenge, and it's something that we're very well placed to really help our customers take a lead on. Subzero started 15, 16 years ago, but actually they were bought out probably about 7, 8 years ago by a US company called Seneca. And Seneca are primarily a company with different holdings, but they manufacture doors. And it sounds like a really small part, but if you're talking about a containment solution, probably the single biggest point of failure is going to be the door, right? So being part of Seneca has really helped us drive not only a differentiator in the fact that we're a door manufacturer, right? We're not just building containment. We understand what it takes to build something that's solid, and all the expertise from all the different companies that Seneca have got. But also, actually, when we talk to our customers, we're not just Subzero. We're Subzero, part of Seneca Holdings. It really gives us some gravitas in the marketplace. When you're talking to large, multinational, global companies, it gives us the ability to show that not only are we Subzero, but with the might of Seneca behind us, we have the ability to invest R&D, to keep making ourselves more efficient, better, to improve on our processes, to make sure that always we're able to offer what we were born to do, to offer containment, to be customer centric. And having that backing of Seneca is a really, really important thing when you're talking to these customers. It gives us some gravitas in the marketplace. So yeah, it's definitely a major part of our business.